What's up, everybody? Good morning on this fine cold winter day. So, I am coming to you from my acupuncture treatment room. You can see it. See the pretty pictures? See? Pretty pictures of acupuncture points. Anyway, coming to you from my treatment room because it's freezing in my office. It's in the 20s this morning. That's Fahrenheit for those of you who live in the US, and that's cold. So it's a good day to talk about how to be healthy this season. I thought I would do a little holiday survival video and talk about some of the top ways to be healthy, how to start saying no to obligations you don't want to have, things that are taking effort away from you being a healthy, happy, content person. How to separate from some of the stress and overfeeding that happens during this time, and really avoid putting on the unnecessary holiday 10 pounds. No, it keeps wanting me to put a mask on. I'm not 17, so I'm not going to put a mask on my head to get more viewers. So a lot of this is going to be inspired by my Chinese medical, my acupuncture background, but also as a fitness and wellness. So I think of myself as the holistic fitness guy. So what I really want to do for you is always help give you the best, most updated, most effective tools to lose fat and be strong, but also from a perspective of a health practitioner who wants you to be healthy. So how to mitigate stress, how to get better rest, how to do the seasons right. It is important to stress this time of year that this is not a good time of year to try and lose weight. It is reasonable if you have more than 20 pounds of fat and you don't have a good diet to clean up diet and lose weight. But if you are somebody who already has a pretty clean diet and you're pretty close to your target weight, this is not time to try and tighten up. We're not trying to hit the beach. You're not trying to look, your best with a swimsuit on. So really, your body doesn't need that stress right now. Having said that, if you're somebody who nutrition and exercise is lacking or not even part of your life, it's always appropriate to do that. But what I'm talking about is things that are going to overstress and tax you at this point, okay? So let's talk about how to be healthy in the holidays, how to say no to things, what winter is really all about, and what did I say? And how to handle parties and not put on the parties and travel and not put on an extra unnecessary 10 pounds. So first of all, in Chinese medicine, winter is called the water element. It has begun already. It started probably in November sometime, and this season is supposed to be about deep rest. Think about what a bulb underground is doing right now. Like you've got crocuses or irises or any plant that's a bulb, right? And it's sitting underground, laying dormant, storing up energy, being very quiet. Nothing is seemingly happening from above ground for this bulb, and all this potential is sitting there storing, and then when spring comes, it goes boom and it shoots up, right? Well, in our culture, we like up and out and yang. We like doing and staying up all night, and with the advent of the invention of lights, we can do whatever we want any time of day. We can stay up and disregard the sunlight, we can stay up late hours, we can work more hours, we can travel, party, all this stuff, but this is the wrong season for that. Now, I don't want you to be a Scrooge. I don't want to encourage you to not go to parties or be with family if that's part of what this season is about for you, but I do want you to help learn how to be as healthy as possible doing that, and maybe finding some boundary around some obligations that you don't want to do, so that you can have some control over that. I want you to think like that bulb. So what's the gift of that bulb? It's stillness, right? If you're a bulb underground, which is what your energy is right now, right? In the fall, the energy drops from the leaves down into the sap of the tree. All the energy is down in its roots. So I want you to be like that right now. So what is it? It's about stillness. Seemingly not much is happening on the outside of you. It's about storing of power, right? Getting rest, doing what we would call yin. If you got yin and yang, doing more yin activities. And after this video sometime today, I'll post my list of the top 10 yin activities you can do that will help promote more storing of energy for this season. I do want to stress for that yin doesn't have to mean sitting still. For some of you that might drive you crazy or be unnecessary. Yin can be something calm and slow, like reading a book or taking a walk, or exercise if it's very gentle and calm. Qigong or yoga is a great example. Yin doesn't have to be sitting still and doing meditation. If you're more like a hyper type A type person, that might even be not great for you to try to do super yin activities. It might drive you crazy and create more pent up energy in you. So you want to find step one in being healthy in the season is find your stillness. Find your stillness. Find something that's going to counteract the sort of frenetic nature of what's going on. Holiday shopping, travel, parties, eating like crazy, maybe working more because you might have time off coming. So a lot of times, what do? When we have a week of vacation is we hypercompensate by working harder right up to it and right after it. And so that tends to happen. So I want you to, number one tip is find your stillness, okay? Like I said, I'll put a list out of the top 10 yin activities. I'm saying yin, like yin yang. I'm a little stuffy, so it's hard to hear. But yin activities, so think walking, yoga, tai chi, getting acupuncture, any form of body work, taking a bath, reading a book quietly, having a quiet conversation with somebody you care about, going and doing lunch with somebody and just having like a nice relaxed time. Any of these activities are yin, and you want to think about how to presence them. Now, I hear a lot from people like somebody else made their life up for them, like, oh my God, David, I don't have any time, I have to work, I have to do this and this and this and this. And it's like, well, number one, who made that life for you? I didn't do it. Are you willing to see differently? Are you invested in being overstressed? Or are you invested in being a healthy person? Because my contention is you can't live like that, especially this season, and be a healthy person. So it might seem like you have to work hard, you have to go. If you're going to live like that, at some point there's going to be consequence. Your body's going to create an issue to slow you down naturally. If we don't listen to the season, our body tends to have a whiplash effect. So I would put it as what's it going to take to get you to create stillness or slowness. This could be as small as little 5 or 10 minute practices throughout the day. It could be that you come up with a breath work, breathing practices are one of my favorite stress reduction techniques. If you don't know, I've taught box breathing many times to people. If you had stopped your day 5 times and did box breathing, think how powerful that would be. And that's literally just stopping whatever you're doing, getting out of your thoughts for a couple minutes, and you breathe in all the way in through your nose to a count of 4. You hold for 2. You breathe out through your lips for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, slowly. Hold for 2, and then repeat. So in 4, hold 2, out 7, hold 2, and just keep going. Box breathing. It's a great stillness practice. This doesn't have to be like stop what you're doing and take 2 hours to go meditate or rest. I'm not talking about that necessarily, but some form of stillness, yin, restoration. Okay? So that's number one, how to line up with a season. Number 2 is a big one for you guys, and we're doing a fun game in our local gym called Fitness Bingo. And one of the squares on the bingo is say no to an obligation that you feel, something you feel obligated to do. I don't mean something you have to do. That you're going to get fired. Don't get fired because David told you to, and don't blame. But say no to something you feel obligated to do, but you really don't have to do it. I've had clients this week. People are loving this one up. They're like, I said no to 3 silly little things that people wanted me to do that I just didn't need to do and I didn't want to do, and it didn't feel good in my body. That's awesome. You know, like maybe it's a party of somebody that you or a little more of a peripheral friend with, or somebody who wouldn't be offended if you skipped out on it and it just felt like too much. Maybe it's a holiday, you know, a work party, and you feel obligated, but it's really not necessary, and it's just going to be an extra night that you don't want to be out. Um, Maybe you pull your kids' activities back a couple times, and you say, you know what, tonight as a family, we're gonna all stay in and we're gonna make dinner together and watch a movie. Um, it could be, you know, I mean, anything in any aspect of your life that just doesn't feel right. Now, what I don't mean is give up on fitness and give up on nutrition, because that just does not make sense. If we only invest in our mind and the stressful stuff that taxes us, and we don't invest in nutrition and fitness, we tend not to create the stillness and calm and healthfulness that we want. So a lot of times what most people do is they say no to the good behaviors. They're like, oh, I don't have time to work out. And they say yes to being harried and stressed and go, go, go. That's not what I mean at all. I mean, you can do that, but that always has a consequence. It doesn't make any sense to stop what's serving you physically and emotionally to go do something that's more stressful. So I don't mean saying no to healthy habits. In fact, I mean rooting yourself in your healthy habits even more so. So say no to obligations of things that are going to overstress you, keep you up too late, or add to a schedule that's already too crammed, okay? And number 3 is how to go about dealing with holiday parties, travel, and just big eating days that are coming up. I've got a lot of clients this time of year where their biggest goal is to gain 0. Like, that's just like the cruise I went on 2 weeks ago. My goal wasn't to lose 5 pounds, that's asinine. My goal was not to gain 8 pounds, right? Which is very doable, very easy to gain 5 to 10 pounds on a cruise. Very easy to gain 5 to 15 pounds, I find, through the holiday season. And folks, I don't want you to do that, because I don't want you to come to me in January and say, oh my God, how do I get this extra 15 pounds off of the already 35 I already had? We don't want to go down that route. So it's time to start creating some habits and behaviors that are going to help you stay rooted so that you don't have to gain weight. And then in January, when January comes and I run some awesome challenges, the Kettlebell Breakthrough Challenge for online and local people, this can be done in your home or local, you can then put those practices into action and start burning fat, which is really what we want to do. But let's not talk burning fat until the beginning of January, okay? So holiday parties and late night big eating days. What I would do, my strategy is multi-pronged, but here's what you're going to want to write down. Number 1, you're going to wake up in the morning and you are going to drink a big old glass of water. Drink a nice sizable glass of water, and you're not going to eat first thing unless you absolutely have to get out of work on time. If you can bring a smoothie with you or wait a little bit, that's great. If you have to eat immediately because of work, I understand, but we're going to focus on our proteins and vegetables, maybe some fruits. We're going to have a nice, solid, reasonable portion breakfast, and something that feeds us but doesn't overfeed us. And if you're skipping breakfast, I would not go there unless you're doing it as an intelligently done intermittent fast. For lunch, it depends. If your party's at lunch or your party's at dinner, what you're going to want to do during the day is you're going to want to hit one metabolically challenging workout during that day. If you know you've got a big Saturday night party, what I want you to do during that day is hit a run walk during the day, or a nice intense interval kettlebell workout during the day, or if you have a gym membership and you like the, I always talk about the elliptical machine, you could do a sprint walk with the elliptical machine, something that is short and compressed, highly intense in intervals, more effective, much more effective than our long drawn out one pace jogs for fat burning. So we want to do something, preferably, I would say, using muscle groups instead of just cardio, instead of just your cardio. So I would prefer something like intense interval training with kettlebells for 10, 15, 20 minutes max, okay? If you can't, and we're talking about a work day, what I would do is go hit a long, intense walk. Get a friend, get a colleague, and say, look, we're going walking. I don't care how cold it is. We're going to put our gear on, and we're going to hoof it, maybe even do some steps or something for 30 minutes at least, okay? So intense interval training, or a nice brisk walk. Like you got a dog that wants to go, that's how fast you want to walk. And then treat your first 2 meals of the day like very sensible, okay? We're trying to hit a reasonable portion. We're not going back for seconds. We're focusing on getting good protein, so meat, and then, focus on meat, vegetable, fruits, seeds, nuts, things like that. A nice bowl of chili, or I'm on the spot, not thinking in terms of which meals you want to do. But so something fresh cooked, something that is reasonable portion, and we're certainly not going to the TGI Fridays and having burgers and fries. That's not the point. Okay? And then when you go to the party, you got two options. You can either, if you don't have too many parties in this month, you can either just go enjoy the party and not worry about it, or you could take the approach of either a healthy snack right before it, or when you go to the party, if your goal is, David, I really want to eat smart at this party, what I usually recommend to people is take a small plate and go through the line once and just pick out the stuff that I would approve on the yes and no list. Like, what are the yes foods you should be eating from, right? Yes foods in general are really simple. It's real food, right? Meat, vegetables, certain grains, fruits, nuts, seeds, all that stuff, and not sugar and a lot of potatoes and things like that. Not bread, sugar, potato, okay? So that is your yes foods, and you're gonna go through and start with foods that are on the yes list, and you're gonna get a little bit full on them, and then maybe you go back for a second, and I'm talking small plate first. Let that sit for a little bit, hang out, maybe have one drink, like, nurse a glass of wine if you want to have a glass of wine, and enjoy, and then go back for seconds this time, okay? If you're trying to have a little more off the script at the party and not gain weight. And then you can look at your dessert or something else that look good and get a reasonable portion, and don't go crazy, and don't eat so fast that you aren't giving your body a chance to feel full. And that's how you go about doing the party. And then look, you got to have some fun, you got to have some dessert, maybe a drink or two, hopefully not 5, and you didn't put on any weight that way, okay? And then call it a day, and congrats, you just had success. So that's how you go about this month, not packing on a ton of weight. There does have to be some level of control. There has to be some level of you creating a habit where most of the time you're eating yes foods. And if you're having trouble with that, I've got tons of programs to help support you with that. That doesn't need to be something that you struggle with alone. If you're confused on the what and the how of that, I can spell that out for you in our program. So that's food for thought, but that's how to do the winter season right, okay? We talked, number 1, about create a practice of stillness, or what we call yin. So like yin and yang, this time of year is very yin, which means slow, pulled inward, restful. And if you're not doing a lot of that in life, if all of your activity is yang, shopping, travel, work, kids, obligations, go, 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 let's present some practices of yin. My second piece for you was to say no to at least one obligation this month. So, sorry, my brain. Say no to something that you feel obligated to do, but you just don't want to do. This might be telling the kids, you know what, today we're gonna pull back in, we're gonna all make dinner and watch a movie tonight instead of going out and being busy when we don't need to be. We're gonna order our gifts off Amazon and not go to the damn mall. Or we might say no to a party that we don't want to go to, and we're not going to offend anybody if we skip it, but it would serve us better if we skipped it. Good, say no to that. But we don't want to say no to our healthy habits. We don't want to say no to fitness, to walks, to downtime and rest, to eating nourishing food. That's the stuff we have to say yes to if we want to be healthy this season, so that when spring comes, we're like, rested up like that bulb I talked about, full of chi, full of energy, ready to go and kick butt this spring. And the third thing was how to handle parties or travel, and just focusing on at least 2 of the 3 meals a day are reasonable portions that fill you but don't overfill you, that are focused on yes foods, and maybe 1 meal where you go a little more hog wild, particularly if it's a day where you're going to a party or it's a travel day and it's a little harder to eat. On point, okay? So that's our food for thought. Any questions that come to you either right now or after this, I always pay attention to my videos to my Facebook groups afterwards. Love to help support, love to answer real live questions. That's probably the most gratifying piece, is to see the questions you guys have and then really be able to like help you troubleshoot and target that, okay? And I think that is it. Right now we're going to open up our online kettlebell program called Transformation 39 for $1 for the first month. It's just ridiculous. We have a library of how-to. If you're a beginner to kettlebells, I have an entire library of how-to videos that teach you from the ground up how to take you from a couch potato to a fit and lean, healthy person. I've done this with men and women for 8 years, helped people who often are not even in a workout routine get back to their glory, get back to a much more fit, strong, vital place in a really empowering way. And in our local Ellicott City, Maryland gym, we're also having a kettlebell breakthrough challenge starting on January 9th. I will attach details to this video afterwards. I'd love to have people join. This is a great alternative to joining that obligatory gym membership, being bored as hell, not knowing what you're doing, not getting results, and then quitting on yourself. We don't want to go down that route anymore, okay? So thanks so much. I will see you next time. Let's focus on healthy habits in the holidays. Thank you.